It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Doom Nation, what's up? It is a dark and cold and stormy night over here. And as always, it's the captain and Skaggs. How you doing there, buddy? Yeah. And our good friend Garrett from Sergeant and Samurai. How you doing, pal? Staying warm?
What's up, boys? Yep, just got done shoveling like the rest of us.
Yeah. Been at that all day.
Yep.
So what's going on, boys? What are we doing? It's a Saturday. We're snowed in. I got my chalice of vodka.
I got a Sam Adams Alpine Lager. These are actually pretty good. They're smooth.
I got a big Yeti of water because I got to be up super early for my kids' district or state qualifiers for wrestling. So I'm like, no booze tonight. No booze tonight. I'll get up in the morning.
You
I'm old.
You have an MMA gym, right? Or
yeah, I do.
One?
Yep. Yeah, I got one. This is my school, actually.
Nice. When did you get into mixed martial arts? Because I used to do karate and kickbox and all that when I was much younger. I loved it.
Yeah. So I started training when I was 5. So that was 1987.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And then I trained and then I stopped in high school. And then I started as soon as I graduated high school again. And then I got into jiu-jitsu probably when I was like 20, 21. And then I opened my first school on my own. I ran 2 other ones, but I opened my first school on my own in 06.
That's awesome. That's a while ago, man. And so this is the same school from 06.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Good for you, man. Congratulations. That's
awesome.
I
opened my first business when I was like 22, 23. And I've never worked for anybody else since. And I just turned 39 like a month ago.
That's the goal for me. I'm tired of working for people, pal.
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. Be your own boss.
Yep.
Don't gotta listen to anybody. You carry out your own vision. That's fucking awesome. Good for you.
Dude, it's one of those things. Like, I think that's why I've always been that way. Like, I didn't like listening in school. I didn't like, so I think it's just the way I'm built and the path I was meant to be put on, because like, especially right now, it's a blessing because I don't got to answer to anybody. Get the jab, fuck off.
Yeah.
Get this, fuck off. Like, close your school up, not today. Like, it's just, It made it a little easier. I mean, but you also get all the burden of responsibility on everything with employees and keeping them going. And, so, I mean, listen, it's the pros and the cons. The pros are super huge in certain things and the cons are super huge in other things. But we've been making it work, so whatever. And now I just talk shit a ton on the internet, so it's cool.
There you go. Yeah.
Like the rest of us.
What could go wrong?
Dude, when they had the first shutdown at the beginning, did that affect you?
Yeah, I was closed for 4 months.
That's crazy. We've probably talked about this before, but
I don't know if we did, because I really like I don't talk about my school that much. I mean, I talk about it.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
No. I don't care. No, it kind of makes it it will bring it full circle on how I kind of got involved. So for years, people are like, Coach, you need to have your own podcast. Like, you're fucking wild, man, right? I'm like, no. I'm scared. Like, not scared. I was worried about, saying what I usually say, and then like the community being like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want it to affect my, my income, my personal business. And then when they shut us down, me and my buddy Drew, because we actually started 2 Live Fools first, and then me and Steve started Sergeant and Samurai. And so, I mean, I have 2 podcasts. We haven't been doing the other one because Drew had a baby and, Steve just had one. So it's been like whatever. But I'm sitting there and I had all this not free time. Like I cut down every tree in my yard. I dug up the whole front yard by hand. Like, I did everything I could to keep myself busy. I was doing online Zoom classes. Like within 2 days, I pivoted and I was like, all right, we're going to keep this going. Cause I literally just bought my house 3 weeks before.
Oh shit.
Wow.
So, and I got 3 kids at the time under 6. I got Rand. She was working like part-time at the time, but it wasn't like it was like food money, So I was like, shit. So I'm like, I got to pivot, whatever. And then like probably about 2 months in, I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to talk shit. I don't care. Like I'm starting it. Like they could shut my business down. I could lose it all tomorrow anyway. Might as well go out on my sword. And I've been hammering at it ever since. And business has been better than ever since. So fuck it.
Yeah, I wonder if there's got to be a statistic somewhere that like as soon as the lockdown started, like the amount of podcasts that were created, and probably the graph just goes sky high because when people are pissed off, they want to fucking voice their opinion, right? It's a beauty.
Well, it was also
freedom of speech.
Yeah, I think it was also like, listen, we all were so busy in our lives, and we're like, we don't have time to sit down for an hour, and like I didn't know how to do. I taught myself Photoshop,
same.
Like over over like the quarantine. And like, I was like teaching myself new skills because I'm like, what else am I going to do? I can't train. They took everything I've been doing away since I was 5 years old. Like I literally train every day, and I'm like, now I can't. And I'm like, there's only so many holes I can dig and, so many trees I can cut down and how many things me and Rand can redo by ourselves at the house that we didn't do before we moved in. So, it was just like, fuck it. I don't care. Like, let's roll. And then, I actually had the time to like put into like, Google how to start a podcast. Yeah. Boom. And then like I was doing it. It was funny because when I started my podcast is when James from We the People started his. And me and James have known each other for years. Me and James and his other co-host, Nick, did the first internet radio, which is like the first form of podcast. And I think 2010. In a little studio in Totalwood, New Jersey, like right on the Totalwood, North Haledon, Patterson border right there. And we did it. We're like, and I remember driving there and they get into the studio and we get all hooked up. And James was probably, I don't know, because me and Nick are older than James. James was probably 21 at the time, maybe. And I was probably like almost 30. And, James was like maybe not even 21, but it was just like, I'm like, who the fuck's going to listen to guys on internet? What is the internet radio? Like, what are you like, who's going to, and now it's like, there's millions of us.
Right. And now it's the mainstream media now. Like, we complain about them. Right. We are the news, right? The corporate media is the legacy, which is completely falling apart. Yeah, man. James is a natural too, dude. I love listening to him.
Yeah, he's very good.
He just, he just rattles off a whole bunch of just knowledge and shit.
He's high energy.
Yeah, definitely.
That kid had a ADHD as a kid, I'm sure.
It travels over to being an adult.
Yes, it does. Yeah. His brain works real well in that way, but he like can't figure out how to plug all the wires in. You're like, like we're going to set up in Dallas, and I'm like, just sit the fuck down. Sit down.
Stop moving.
Let the adults handle this. Just shut up, and we'll let you talk in like 10 minutes. Because he was just And then finally, like I got him reeled in. And then you just got to wind them up and hit play.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it is interesting, man. How like humans could be super adaptable, though. Like you were saying before, you didn't know how to do any of this shit. Neither did I. Right. When we first started doing podcasting, I didn't do shit. It was our buddies, Jimbo the Kid. Justin, Javier, they did everything. But people are adaptable, man. I don't have any fucking background whatsoever in video editing or recording or running all these fucking wires and things. Neither does Cap, but you can learn. I just switched over to a MacBook and I just started using Final Cut Pro.
Love it.
Woo! It's a lot.
So
it's complicated and it's a lot. It's like a super powered, video editing software. But I'm learning as the episodes go.
So I got super lucky with my Final Cut. So have you guys seen any of Sam Rivera's films? I post them every once in a while.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing film, right? So he did my intro for my 2 Live Fools. Sam is a jiu-jitsu brown belt. He trained under 2 guys that I know. And he does like all Tiger Showman's videos. He does Teddy Atlas's podcast. He does, stuff for a big gun company up by us, Griffin and Howe, one of my old students. And he did like a bunch of footage with Donald Trump Jr. Like, because Griffin and Howe, like the town literally like a mile this way is where the Kellogg's, they own all this farmland and they do shooting, and you got to be like, you need $100,000 retainer to just even be thought about like being a part, like a member there, right? So I met him through that, and I had him do it, and he did my thing, and I was like, I want to be able to do this and put out more content. So what do I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So I'm like, Sam, can I pay you to be like my Final Cut sensei? And he was like, yeah, man. And then we went down there, and I just went to his house, and we sat for an hour, or sat for a day straight, and he just showed me. We did a couple of like, while I was editing, like phone calls, and then anytime I get jammed up, I just call Sam, and he'll be like, "Dum dum, hit this button." I'm like, "Sweet, bang, okay, cool." And then and that's how I did it. And then he's like, "Just make videos, play with stuff. Don't be scared if you mess up." Like, because I'm always like, "I'm gonna crash the computer. I'm gonna crash a computer." Like, that's that old school thing, right? And it's funny because like I have kids, and like we don't let them on electronics at all, but I train a lot of kids, and it's like, dude, they're like little wizards because they're not scared of it. Where like me, I was like, I'm gonna get a virus. I'm looking at too much porn. This is not good. Or like, like we're from like, dude, when I was,
we're dinosaurs.
There was no internet.
Yeah.
When I was a teen, like there was no internet. There was no cell. I had the first StarTech flip phone.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I had a fucking beeper
for a while. Yeah, I had a beeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you were doing.
33, and you're what? You said you're 39.
Yep, I'm 39.
Yeah, so you're a little bit older than me.
Chris, me and you had the benefit of being born and then growing up kind of half and half, right? So like when we were first born and we were kids, there were no cell phones. The internet was just in its infancy of, AOL dial-up and whatnot. But, as we've gotten older now, like as we got into our teens and our 20s, it's revolutionary fucking technology and social media and smartphones. When did the iPhone come out? In like 2007, right?
Something around
so
then.
we were we were in our late teens then. So we got a benefit of seeing what the world kind of was like before. Technology is just everywhere now. It's crazy.
It's a gift and a curse.
Right. Yeah. And then we have the benefit of being young enough to like know how to do Final Cut Pro and start a podcast on our own. It is interesting, like, having a kid now and everything. I know you're saying you don't let your kids use like technology that often.
I do. It's very controlled. Like,
that's the way
because they turn into psychopaths.
Yeah. It's just interesting. Like, I'm learning the sensory videos and whatnot for newborns. You got to be careful even which sensory videos you use, because they can cause a newborn to get like a short attention span right off the bat. Like humans are we already have short attention spans to begin with because of all this technology. But holy shit, like you got to be careful not to use cocoa melon and whatnot. Like Shane was telling me about that, Chris. It could cause them to like develop a short attention span when it comes to watching television immediately.
There's just evil in the world everywhere.
But is Cocomelon evil? I don't know. Right. It's just the way they did it, and it's popular. You know what I mean? So
it is popular.
You just gotta be careful.
My baby used to watch Cocomelon, but he was like 3 when he was into it. He wasn't like an infant. But it's crazy because like even just before he watches his TV, he plays on certain things, but like he'll go in his room and you'll just hear him yapping to himself, and he's like and he'll watch the shows, but then he goes in his room and he sets it up and he like reenacts the shows, and he's like has an imagination where I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, like he's like, you can't see the London Bridge right there, you idiot. Like I made London Bridge. And I'm like, his imagination and his like self-play, like when his brothers are at school and he comes home early, he'll sit in front of the fireplace with 2 chalks and he jumps them, and then he'll grab the wood and make jumps out of them. So like
that's great, man. Well,
you got to it's like everything else, balance, man.
Yeah. I used to fuck around with Micro Machines and Hot Wheels.
The action. I had the Ninja Turtle action figures and the Ninja Power Turtles.
I used to use my grandma's rug, like the design on it, like they were the roads, and I
would
drive my cars around on and shit. That stuff is like great for kids. Something that maybe is lost by leaning on like an iPad or a television show or YouTube nowadays. You got to have a mixture of both, definitely.
Yeah, like they woke up this morning, it was cold, it was real snowy, and I went to work, and they were playing on their Switches for a little bit. My older one's like super into Fortnite. I don't even understand it, but whatever. So he was into it, but like when I got back home and I'm like shoveling the driveway, I'm like, suit up, boys, let's go. And they went sleigh ride, and they were on the trampoline, and they did like an hour or 2 in the cold. I was trying to wear them down too, so I could get on the podcast. Excuse me. But like we do the balance. Like my kids are very active too. So it's not like there's certain kids out there that's all they do. Like my kids, wrestle, kickbox, do jujitsu, have a cooking class, like, you know, play with their friends. They're outside, you know, 6 days a week. So if my kid plays Switch for 2 hours on a Sunday,
Right. They earned it.
yeah, like, you know, and the other thing
What
we do
difference
is
it gonna make?
the other thing we do is like for him to earn time, like that's what, like he has to read like 10 pages, 10 to 20 pages, and he gets 10 to 20 minutes on the iPad.
Right.
Or I mean on the Switch. So he has to like read or do his math to earn that time to just fuck off.
Smart way.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, like I said, it's a gift and a curse because they're super smart and they learn certain things. But at other times, I'm like, just go build fucking spears in the woods and kill things. Let's go.
Just like Quincy said last week when he was like, for the first time in a long time when COVID hit, like parents were hearing what their teachers were teaching and what they were doing in the class, and there was a lot of hold the F up, like what did you just try and tell my kid? And you know, they realized they didn't have that balance. They realized that they just let the iPad and the iPhone and Xbox raise their children.
You know something that's been really annoying the fuck out of me the past couple of days? There's been the huge Spotify Joe Rogan controversy that's never ending going on, and I keep seeing a lot of people tweeting, oh, the same people trying to defend Joe Rogan's freedom of speech are trying to ban books that schools are trying to teach. And I have repeated this to I'm going after these people, right? Because I got to push back on some assholes like this, right? But I'm like,
smoke them.
The difference is Joe Rogan has as an individual a right of freedom of speech. The government, a school, teachers don't have any fucking rights, right? They are employed by the parents. So you have no right to push an agenda or activism on children, right? If you want to, it's completely different. If you don't want to listen to Joe Rogan, you don't have to. But in terms of what's being taught to your children, you own your children. The state, the government, the school does not own your children. They have no right to push some sort of shit on them that you don't like. You have a right to tell them, no, I don't want them reading this hateful, divisive shit that's going to make kids grow up fucking retarded and all hate each other. So I
feel like a victim.
Right. It is crazy, though, how some people are just like, they literally think they own your kids. They really do.
They do.
It's fucking bizarre. I mean, we were just talking about this the other day, Cap. Until I had a kid, man, like now I know, like it's you could snap easily and make you want the kids make you want to kill people. I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm not threatening
Let's
anybody.
Clarify that, Skaggs.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes to children, man, like get the fuck out of here. That's stepping across the line.
Dude, it's such a change. Like once I had kids, and I've always taught kids, so I've always been, you know, like they're part of my life. You know, I've taught 4-year-olds up to 104-year-olds, and I've always had, you know, good youth programs and good kids. Like I'm just like I'm a giant kid myself, so. But like, you know, it would always bother me. But then once I really had kids, and like you look at that child, and you're like, some dude wants to drink their blood, or some dude wants to do this, or some dude, you're like, I will fucking there's no
unacceptable.
Like I am War Machine. You are not going to stop. Like you're going to have to, you know, triple tap me in the head for me to slow down, you know, like, and I'm not being a hard ass. It's just like anybody who has a kid, you're like, I will go to the end of the earth and do whatever I have to do to make sure that my species, my DNA is protected.
Yeah, of course, man. Without a doubt. That's your fucking family.
I know you want to bring up Psaki. Didn't somebody just ask her if they think the government or the schools know better or the parents know better for them?
I didn't hear that one, but boy, I can only imagine what the fucking response to that question must have been.
There you go.
Under Dragon.
That's a Minecraft.
Yeah, Under Dragon. Right? He walks around in a fucking
I got a dragon onesie.
I'm telling you right now, having kids is like a constant fucking trip, like a trip because they were like, dude, like they come out and I'm like, why are you Spider-Man? And I have Incredible Hulk, and then there's Luigi on the stairs. Like it's like if you wake up, you're like, whoa, how did all these cartoon characters get in my house? They're all fucking dressed like Batman and shit. They walk around and talk shit. It's hilarious.
Must be interesting if you're on like an edible or something, and then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of costumes just running around the house like, woo!
Yeah, that's why I don't fuck with that shit.
I don't think you have the availability or the luxury to fuck around with that.
No, I can't go on a walkabout now, Mo.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn that.
Dude, it is, but
for fucking around.
you'll get it back eventually, but it takes a little bit, you know. But yeah, Psaki, right? What's it called? What are you looking at? Sorry, my wife. She's talking shit with her face over here. Yeah, I know. Yep, does it again. But with her, I think what was it? Peter Ducey. He asked her, like, who do you think has the right to, you know, the children? And she he bait and switched her so easily, and her dumbass took it so easily. She's like, yeah, the government.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Like, dude, straight out was like the government. Did you see your thing about taking people's rights away? Like, oh, we got to stop having people think that their freedom of rights is like what we need in life and blah, 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 blah.
Dude, her job.
We're the conspiracy theorists, so
yeah, dude, her job is to just push the agenda. Like, whatever the question is, you give the agenda answer.
100%.
And then the other half of her job is telling the world what Joe Biden said is not what he meant.
What he meant to say.
Yeah, what he meant to say. That's all she does. And I mean, she's great at her job. I see why she got it.
My dislike of her is nothing personal. It's more for like the role and the job. I mean, what a fucking stupid like form of communication to begin with. I'm going to stand up here and you're going to try and trick me 900,000 times in an hour, even if it's not Psaki or it's one of these other ones. It's just like
100%.
Form of communication to begin with.
It is, but at the same time, like, you chose that job, you know what it's coming at you, right? But then at the same time with her, is like, yeah, they're not throwing questions at her. Like, everybody's pre-screened and put in that room for her, especially for this administration. There's nobody in there that isn't asking a question that they don't already know is coming at them. 90%. Maybe Ducey every once in a while will throw a zinger in there. But listen, he's cleared to be in there and they haven't kicked him out for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he's playing ball somewhere.
Yeah, of course. Right. They also have to, they also have to maintain the illusion of fairness as well.
Yep.
You know, that was lost. That's been lost.
I try and explain that to people. Like, look, Fox is like great and all. Yeah. But like, they're the only one, which makes them suspicious. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be an opposition, Ed, or everybody would realize it's all one too lean, you know.
Right. It would accelerate everyone's skepticism, right?
But is it really opposition when they were the ones that called the election?
That's one small step for man.
What's up, Doom Nation? It is Skags here, and thank you as always for listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. We got a couple of exciting new projects coming up. I am going to be working with Jimbo the Kid from the Last Slice podcast. We're going to be doing a little side segment on both of our shows called A Slice of Doom. Jimbo will be talking about cultural and social issues on our show, and I'll be talking politics on the Last Slice podcast. So keep an eye out for those. They'll be coming up soon in the next couple weeks. They will be on all our normal platforms: YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to go over to the Last Slice podcast and subscribe to their channel, as the second half of all of these segments will be on their show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you have a great day.
That called the election.
Well,
they were the first ones,
right? For Biden, right? Yeah, because they're controlled opposition.
Exactly, and the problem with them is like, I mean, no, there's lots of problems with them, but you know, I mean, the problem is like none of them can be trusted, and they're all owned by the same parent companies.
Yeah,
so they're gonna push the line and tote the line, no matter what. Right. And it's fucking wild that CNN has, you know, we've talked about this before. Like, they have so minimal listeners, and Fox is the biggest name in the game, and like Joey Rogan's smashing them.
Yeah, they have
not even
Fox
close.
Still has like very small viewership as well. It's just when you compare it to like scale of the other ones, it looks large, but it's really not when you compare it to.
That's what I'm saying. Like. Yeah, 11 million
followership.
Yeah, it also like Joe Rogan's show. He doesn't just talk politics every day, all day on every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's maybe once a week. So it shows also that people are just not interested. Also, maybe right, and just hearing that garbage shit even every single day, all day. So I mean, that's why we do different shit too, right? Because we don't want to just talk about that either.
Yeah, you gotta mix it up a little
bit.
But
people want to hear like authenticity. That's why Rogan is so popular, because he just lets the person that he's there with talk, and you know, he gives his point of view and whatnot. I saw somebody going back to him, man, like commenting. This was funny. It was you guys saw when he had on Josh Zeps, I think his name was. He's from Australia, and he was very pro lockdown in the conversation with Joe.
He's a reporter from there, right?
Right, from Australia, and they were going back.
I caught like sound bites of it,
and the guy was kind of towing the talking points that are normal around COVID from the regime. Whatever, fine. So in this whole controversy over canceling Rogan or not, I saw another post where people are going back and forth underneath it, and they're like, he should be. Basically, the person was saying Taylor Swift should go out and remove all her stuff from Spotify until Rogan is removed. And underneath that, people are like, yeah, he shouldn't be out there spewing misinformation, Joe Rogan. And then someone underneath that was like, well, he's also had on Dr. Michael Osterholm, Peter Hotez, a lot of other guys who are like
Sanjay Gupta,
right? And another person underneath that is like, he's still, but that was a long time ago. And now he's having on Dr. Peter McCullough and Robert Malone. And this is all happening.
The most published fucking doctor in the world ever, and one of the inventors of the fucking test. How dare he?
Yeah, he's not the expert.
The funniest thing about this whole exchange is this whole thing is going on in a thread, and the original post was by Josh Zeps, right? So I commented, I'm like, did you forget the guy whose thread you're even commenting in was just on, and he was just pushing back against Joe and using the normal talking points. So like people are just so, I don't know, like all these people who want to like censor Rogan and whatnot, they have never even probably listened to an episode of his at all.
I've been seeing a lot of that too. They're like the same people that want to cancel Joe Rogan have never even listened to an episode of his podcast.
They're just Mockingbird. They're just repeating whatever the fuck they're told.
And it's amazing that how hardcore they are at discrediting these doctors that come on.
How quick they are to double down on stupidity.
Yep. They'll triple down. It's amazing.
Yeah, they will triple down. We know that.
Dude, but it's amazing, because we were saying this in a text message about Neil Young. Here's Neil Young. Yeah, thank you. Here's Neil Young saying, oh, if you don't take down Rogan, he's spreading medical misinformation. A guy who's not a biologist, a virologist, a scientist, a lab tech, no medical degree, nothing, saying he's spreading misinformation by having on the doctors. Don't listen to those doctors. Listen to me, someone with no medical degree.
Right.
Like my meme said, Leonard Skinner was right.
Jeez. Yes. Right, they weren't friends with Neil Young, I guess.
Oh,
I don't know the whole beef between them.
I think it was Freebird. They fucking said something about him. Yep. Oh yeah, they said it.
Right.
He's also Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Young. He's from Canada, and there's a little thingy thing going on in Canada now.
Dude, it's amazing.
So, there's that too. Because, all right, so we can kind of segue into Canada, right?
Yeah.
So there's been some wild shit going on up there. How many truckers are there? 50,000 truckers.
Plus. I saw a report, man, saying that the convoy was 100 miles.
100 miles.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I just saw my buddies up there. He owns a school up there. And I had my other buddy who owns a school up there. He stayed with me on Friday and Saturday of last week, right before or as they were leaving what they were. So I kind of got the Canadian insight, And then I have another buddy who's like out in Calgary, which is like the equivalent of like Montana for us. Mm-hmm. So I get to see the Canadian like frontier, like fuck the man, where they're conservatives, and I get to see people that literally live in Ottawa, which is the equivalent of DC, and own buildings and been shut down because they're shut down again. They're allowed to open up again at 50% capacity on January 31st, right?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you think New York City's bad, like French Canada and those areas are much worse. They're under like military basic.
No joke. I knew a guy in the gym. I started working out at a different gym, and he was excited to move to Canada. Like there was plenty of conversations and shit. And even he was like, they're handling COVID so much better. And I was just like,
no, they're not.
And he was
doing just equally
he's like,
bad.
I'm moving up there. I was like, you know what? I hope you could leave next week.
I know.
We don't fucking need you here.
We don't need you. Yeah.
So long.
Dude, I know. So I was talking to them And, you know, I've had like lengthy conversations because I've known all of them for years. We've trained together, you know, so like, it's not just like, oh, some guy I met and I'm getting the Canadian word. Like, and I've been up to Canada and stayed up there. And like, so I've gotten a feel for the people, and they're very passive with a lot of things. It's a total social, like when I was up there, like just watching things, it's total socialist government. It's been socialist forever. Like they pay for things, and obviously because they're owned by England and China, right? So, but totally socialist. So like when they started implementing everything, everybody's like, oh, this is for the greater good. Let's do this.
Right.
And blah, 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 blah. And they literally, like my one buddy out in Calgary is like, fuck the man. Like he's like doing what we're doing. He's got his school wide open. He don't give a shit, whatever. My buddies in DC, they have to really approach it a different thing. They're under a lot more scrutiny. Right. But like, it's so crazy because like the people in there, he's like 90% of Ottawa is vaccinated. You just assume that the other person is vaccinated because they like, that's how everybody is washed in that in that area. Like you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, right? And then he's like the same thing with like the lockdown. He's like, there's people that have still not left their house in two plus years. Like they haven't gone outside.
Oh, so pathetic.
And I know there's people like that around me, like in New Jersey. There's still people that are scared to death to leave their house, which is natural selection, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
We don't need them moving forward. I'm sorry,
dude. We don't. And then, you know, so, but what they were saying was like, you know, Trudeau and all that, because, you know, everybody's really on board, but I'm like, you live in that bubble too. So like, do you think that everybody's really on board? Because I'll be like, yo, I know 2 of your students that like, they follow our podcast. They follow the other podcast. They comment all the time. They're like, fucking Viva la Revolution. You know, like the Canadians, they're like, and they're proud people and they're tough sons of bitches. So I was like, how are they taking this so easy? And then I saw that convoy. I was like, yeah, but I heard, I think I was talking last night when we were on, I heard 12K US truckers jumped the border and joined the convoy, like 12,000 of them.
I know.
But getting to my point, sorry, I got a little roundabout in that. But my one buddy who's up there, he's like, oh, you know, we just got reports that it's going from Lovenberg to this, whatever. He's like, if that's true, 60 kilometers, which I think is like 96 miles of trucks.
Right.
That's great.
Which is even bigger. And they're trying to downplay it. Like you saw Trudeau.
A fringe,
minority.
Yeah.
Right.
The craziest thing though. Well, one thing you guys will appreciate this too. I've seen so many in the truck lines, right? So many Canadians holding Trump flags. Then I've also seen, you know how we have Let's Go branded.
Yeah.
They have Let's Go Trudeau, it's Brando, like BRANDEAU. Let's go Brando. Dude, I was dying. I was like, fuck yeah, boys. We're coming.
Right before you signed in, I was telling Skaggs, I don't know if we're going to be able to get it on the screen. If you go to your Snapchat and you go to like the locations and you hover over Canada where Ottawa is, bright red circle. And you could just play all the Snapchats that are going on there.
You could probably put it up to the screen, Cap, if you can, if you want.
It's gonna focus. Yeah, dude. Yeah. They said they just arrived like I was looking at my buddy's
party.
I was looking at my buddy's thing, and oh yeah, they're gonna have a huge party, and they're like level red of COVID outbreak. Nobody can. He fled. Did you see the reports? He fucking got out of Ottawa.
Yeah,
He's like
he faked. He faked getting COVID. To quarantine, and now he fled. All right,
fucking
serious
pussy.
Question, because this is like,
is it Castro's son? Yes.
This is getting media coverage. Like people know what's going on. People know it's not a small fringe minority. This is going to stop, you know, the supply chain in Canada. You think Trudeau is going to double down or bend the knee? I really feel like he's going to double down.
Oh, that's a tough one.
So that's not a good sign.
Right.
All right. So I'm with Skaggs on that one. But at the same time, he ran for president again during all this. So he needs that some sort of power. Right. I think he's going to double down. But I also, the coward that he really is, I could see him bending the knee. But it's a very tough call because like he's so invested on how much he lied to the people. It's like, how do you back out of it? But look at England. They lied to the people and Boris was having parties. I posted that clip of like English, the English Parliament. Dude, we need to get the Senate like that, where they're just like, "Fuck you, you fuck the wanker," like they're going back and forth, "You bloody cunt," like, oh, like, sorry, that was my Australian in there too, but like they like fight back and forth. But he was having literally, they're like, "You were having parties," and he's like, "Well, I didn't know it was against COVID." They're like, "You made the fucking rules, idiot." He dropped it the next day.
Yeah,
he literally dropped it within 2 days.
He's the Joe Biden of the UK. It's fantastic. It's
funny because they called him the Trump.
They did.
Britain's Trump for a while. I don't know, man.
He looks like the guy from Dumb and Dumber if he was a little heavier and just did his hair.
With Trudeau, I mean, who knows? Like this whole thing is a great tactic because, like we thought, and we said this in the live last night. Like you looked at Canada over the past 2 years, and you thought, hey, this is what they want.
They're gone.
They're not doing anything. But now they did something that's like physically visible to everybody to show, no, this is not what we all want, right? And he tried to call it a small fringe minority in the beginning, but no, like your eye, and this goes back to Orwell, right? Well, the party will tell you to not, believe what your eyes see.
Yeah, don't believe your own eyes.
Right. This, you can see it, right? You could see the videos. You can see the people standing at the overpass. I said this last night on our live too. Like there was one video that wasn't even the convoy. It was a bunch of people waiting for the convoy, and there was a normal traffic jam going on underneath the overpass. Normal cars, all beeping, all with their hands out the windows, like cheering on the people there protesting. Those are not people involved in the convoy. Those are just people stuck in rush hour Friday afternoon traffic. So it's a great tactic because now you've shown there's that meme of like the guy whipping everybody. Right. And as one person stands up, then two, then like 10, then 20. This is what that is.
Then they bow 100%.
I mean, as a politician, Trudeau has to, as much as he wants to pretend it's not a big deal and run away and hide because he's a coward, frankly, and he doesn't want to like come out there and talk to anybody and face them. He's got to feel some sort of pressure. So I could see maybe something along the lines of like he rescinds the mandate specifically on truckers to appease only truckers. So they go away. And this whole thing blows over, and everybody else will still be under.
Or if the truckers,
that's a good way to look at it. Oh, the truckers are going to double down, bro. Listen, I don't care if you're a Canadian trucker, a U.S. trucker. They're a different breed, bro.
Yeah, I really think he's gonna double down, and he's gonna be like, "You got 24 hours to leave," or like
the military.
They're cooking up. They're cooking up a new false flag, right?
Yeah, there's more. I saw a post the other day too that in that convoy, there's more trucks and people than the Canadian military. They literally said that they don't bigger have a than
military, right?
They do not. This is the other thing people don't realize. Like Canada is huge. I think it's like the second biggest landmass or continent or largest country in the world, but it has the population of California spread out throughout it.
Right? Yeah.
There's like 40 million people in that giant vast land. So even to say it's a small fringe and out of like, let's say 40 million, you have 50 to, let's say, conservatively 40,000 truckers to, on a bigger scale, maybe 60 or 70,000 trucks coming through in a 40 million person, whatever. You're like, all right, that's not that big of a deal, but it kind of is because that's a chunk.
Yes.
Then all the people that are out on the roads where they're saying, conservatively 500,000 people, but the videos we're seeing, it looks like there's probably between all the videos and overpass and everything, maybe 3 million people. That's like fucking 10-15% of your populace. That's like,
right.
That's just coming out and saying it. That's not scared to come out and say it. There's a lot of people that are going in their house. Get them, guys. Get them. Because I can't say anything because I work for the Secret Service, but I just go along.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a great argument for secession and national divorce as well, right? Because look,
we're on the bad side though. We live in the East, bro.
All right, but you could see like in Canada, obviously there is a divide, right? And people probably from the West, which is way more Arctic and rugged, and I mean the whole country's Arctic, right? But they have probably different values and different ideas, and the people in Ottawa and Toronto and those big cities. So why even have this fight? Right. Look, Ottawa, you want to be crazy? You want to be an authoritarian land? Okay. But we will go back to Alberta or Northwest Territory and we will not be part of that. We'll do our own thing. Same thing with the United States, like Texas, Florida. Why is decentralization is a good idea. Even our country is not meant to be like the federal government rules all and makes rules for everybody and forces one sort of policy on everybody.
They were just supposed to be around like for wartime and like stuff like that, where we had to make a collective decision as states. Otherwise, states were supposed to run themselves, and that's what it was, right? And then even my buddy who lives in Calgary, he's like, dude, by the time Ottawa votes, because they're on the East Coast too, like we don't even vote out here because they call it.
Right. Isn't that disgusting, right? Democracy,
he's
baby.
like,
our sacred democracy, right?
And he's like, well, did you guys ever see that like map on like one of the memes where they want like that part of Canada to be absorbed and call it the greater Idaho area and then like West, like you know what I'm saying, like West Washington and Oregon, because like that's the whole thing. All the shitbags live on the coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make a new country.
Same thing with California. Up north, they're just like regular people that want to hunt, fish, live life.
But that's the Emerald Triangle, and it's nothing but drug dealers, marijuana farms, and gangs.
Well, why? Because that's what gets done.
It's the rugged territory.
Yeah, whatever. I think it's gangster. Fuck it, do it.
Oh, dude, a whole outlaw county. Let's go.
Did you see that? Did you see
that?
Was
one of my favorite documentaries.
It was
Murder Mountain.
Murder Mountain. There you go, Bubba.
Yo, that was. I mean, just forget like the vigilante story that played out on the mountain. The idea of an outlaw county, a county that is so collectively against the police are like, all right, we'll fuck off and leave you guys alone.
Dude, they wouldn't even go up.
Dude,
they would literally have like quads come out to the police cars and like cut them off. And they're like, you ain't going nowhere. Or they'd escort them up the mountain, or they'd be like, no, you're not going up there today. And the cops would be like, all right, we'll try again tomorrow. We'll meet you at like 8:30. Good for you. Okay, cool. Thanks.
So I never watched that documentary, but within that town or whatever, was there
Humboldt County?
Was there lawlessness and people being murdered in the street and insanity?
Yes. So it's hard to say.
Above the average of it happening, I guess, anywhere else in the world. That's
the average of people going missing is off the charts. Like the sheriff department, there's nothing they could do. Like they're just putting in new sheriffs and like DAs and stuff, trying to work with the people of Humboldt County, but they don't want it. So then they're trying with the legalization of marijuana. So if you have a grow operation, you could go legal and you could stay in your farm and up on the mountain. But then you go legal, it doesn't stop another illegal gang coming and robbing your ass.
Still influenced by outside factors. Yeah.
So there is the town and there's not like outright crime in the streets. But then when you get to the mountain where like they don't let the cops come and shit, like vigilantes protect the streets. Like, full out Wild West.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's this called again? Murder Mountain.
Murder Mountain. You would like it. I'm surprised you haven't watched it, honestly.
You know which one I watched? The one about the that guy who was like the yogi and they made their own like cult town.
Fucking everybody.
Was Wild Wild Country?
I think shaman.
It was Wild Country. I think
that was interesting.
That was another fantastic one.
Yeah.
They grew so much, and that's the perfect way to play politics. Like,
people.
Yeah, it was homeless people having orgies, and their town grew so much they got board members on the state committees.
Yeah,
they had their own
town.
police department.
They renamed the town there. Like they renamed the town to one of their cult names or whatever. That was a crazy scenario. If anybody wants to check that out, another good one. Wild
That's
Country.
Just one skinny little Indian dude that could suck his own dick coming from a different country.
Hey, like, people say he was like the nicest dude ever. I'm
sure he was. He was getting laid all the time.
It was a bad guy. It was that woman and the rest of the people there who were assholes.
Well, but yeah, Skaggs, you would like Murder Mountain, man.
Murder Mountain was good. What is that? Humboldt County, right?
Yeah. Yep, the Emerald Triangle.
Emerald Triangle.
All right. So
all the weed we get from the Bronx probably comes from there.
From there. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So let's switch gears real quick. I have a clip of our good friend Jen Psaki, who we were talking about earlier. And I think we were kind of talking about this, Chris. Every once in a while, like the regime, the narrative does something that's just so blatantly bizarre or illogical.
Tone deaf.
Not even tone deaf. Like it's just something they'll say something or do something that makes just no sense. That I would hope that like even the biggest sheep can be like, huh? That doesn't make any sense.
Bah.
Right. Bah.
Bah.
So this was
get it out of your nose.
Ruined all the equipment.
What was This was like 2 days ago, and she is asked about the president encouraging Americans to live a healthier lifestyle amidst a pandemic that is killing people with obesity, heart disease, diabetes, etc. And let's hear what she has to say.
Okay, and then on COVID, we've seen an effort from a few other countries to include a push for living a healthier lifestyle as part of its pandemic response. There's been studies indicating efforts like weight loss could help prevent some of the more serious effects of COVID-19. Why isn't the president included a push for healthier lifestyles in his COVID messaging in addition to pushing Americans to get vaccinated?
Well, first, we rely on the advice and guidance of our public health officials on how to best protect yourself from hospitalization and death from COVID. And we know that the most effective steps anyone can take are to get vaccinated, get boosted, wear a mask. And those are the steps that we're certainly focusing on. If they decide those are steps that are warranted and have a huge impact on outcomes, and they want to share those, we'd certainly echo those. But we really refer to our public health officials and experts.
So that hasn't been a advice from the public health officials that the president's been speaking to?
Again, we do briefings with our public health officials every week, multiple times a week, and I think what's most important to note is what we know is most effective, which is getting vaccinated, getting boosted, wearing a mask, and those are the components and the steps that we're really focusing our attention on encouraging.
All the things that they've been proving doesn't fucking work because everybody we know got triple jabber, literally freaking came back and got COVID.
This is so hard to watch. You know,
it is. Well, all of us were like just like this.
Yeah. You know,
Face
like
melt.
I said, like it just give the agenda approved answer. End of story.
Yeah.
You know, like to your point, Skaggs, like you could have just been like, yeah, get healthier and get vaccinated. Like they don't want anyone to believe that if you are a strong, fit individual who eats right and isn't obese can actually have a healthier life. They don't want you thinking that way. A Big Farm bought the Oval Office. I'm sorry. Pharmaceutical companies got together. This is just a paid advertisement. Get vaccinated, get boosted, wear a mask.
Look,
tagline.
Dude,
the three of us are not scientists. We are not doctors. Again, don't listen to us. Don't take medical advice, right? I'm not going to get into the vaccine and whatnot, but I mean, that doesn't make any sense, what they just said. Their defense is that they are listening to the doctors, the medical advisors, and if they were telling them that was a beneficial step to minimalizing death and health issues and whatnot, that they would advise that. Like I said before, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't cost anything. There's no downside at all to telling people you should probably get a little bit healthier. It would be better for you. And on top of that, you should probably still get vaccinated and boosted because that will also protect you against COVID. Like they have like, I don't know, like glue in their mouth and they just can't say it. It doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you, please. I'm sure most people that are watching Two Doom Men podcast don't need any more proof that the administration is fucking retarded and full of shit and whatnot. But what this can do is show you that we're not crazy. You're not crazy who's listening. If you think that if the administration is full shit, and sometimes maybe you second guess what's going on, that doesn't make any sense. You could just say, like I said, get a little bit healthier. You could file this one under the exact same logic they used when they said, oh, no, during the height of the pandemic, you can still go out and protest Black Lives Matter, but all the other protests are not safe. But a Black Lives Matter protest is completely safe. The virus doesn't care about what type of protest politically it is. Shit like that is just so obvious that they're fucking lying. Anyone can see that. That's not political. I think you said it, Captain Me.
Yeah.
You're like, this is not a political thing. Getting healthy is not a political thing.
Yeah. And I mean, could you imagine?
It is when you're on the side that's unhealthy all the time.
Yeah. But could you imagine, though, like purveying like, oh, people who exercise are white supremacists or something like along the lines of that?
We're not far away.
It's coming.
You know what I mean?
It's coming. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Stay home. eat cheese doodles. Your vaccination is going to do it for you. Like,
well, that was the whole toxic masculinity cap. Like,
yeah,
like that is pretty much saying like you're a white supremacist, you're a toxic male if you want to be an alpha or you work out or you know your presence is too overwhelming for the betas. You have to tone yourself down. Like
these are
every line.
This has been worked on for months.
These are
for years.
These are the follow the science people. The follow the science people are telling you, are not recommending you make yourself healthier.
Yeah.
How is that scientific?
Dude, I saw a video on Instagram and it was follow the science. And it was this digitalized like cartoon. There was this big hole in the ground and people are just running. Millions of people are just running full steam into the hole. Follow the science.
Look, man, the president of El Salvador, he recently, the country recently made a video like encouraging people, get out of the house, go for a run, go get some vitamin D, try and take care of your physical fitness because these
go jump the border. They're giving away free shit in America.
El Salvador got the right idea. They're doing good down there. But they made a video literally encouraging people like if you want to protect yourself from COVID, you should just improve your general state of health on top of
warm down there a lot,
the vaccine and whatnot if you want to. I mean, what the fuck? If they could do it, why can't we do it? Why are their mouths glued? Shut when it comes to just recommending
because
someone.
You have to push the agenda.
I know.
That's
a rhetorical
what you signed
question.
on board
I'm just saying.
Well, it's also it's 5 countries that are really controlling this narrative still, right? So like there's been a lot of countries. There's been some that didn't buy on from day one. There's been some that are reversing things and saying, hey, we got it wrong. Like I've seen reports. I mean, even though Germany's still doubling down, like there's been reports where like their media's came out and been like, we were wrong. Like we're sorry.
A lot of protesting in Germany.
Yes. So, but think
also,
about, what are the main countries that are doubling down right now?
Well,
U.S.
You could say the admitted, but we're fractured, right? I guess you could say
Israel,
the federal government,
Israel, Australia, Canada, UK was in there, but you know he just backed out.
China obviously leads the charge on authoritarianism around
France, China, right? And I think that's it. So
Italy too. I think I'm pretty sure Italy. I'm sure there's more.
Well, Italy, they've been protesting, but it's pretty much fucking NATO.
Yeah, apparently in Italy and Brazil, truckers are preparing to do the same thing in Canada.
Yep. Good. It's a great idea. Like I said, it's the optics. It's a large visible event to rally.
Plus, it shows how the little man really greases the wheels.
Yeah.
And these politicians that think they're high and mighty, like, yeah, the stake's not getting to your house now, dickhead.
Yeah.
Like it shows like you're not.
Yeah, it was Quincy said it. I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Hoffa said it right. If you bought it in the store, it came on a truck.
Yeah,
right? That's still the truth to this day.
100%.
Yeah, man. It really when shit like obviously we all do podcasts. We're deep in this shit. We research everything all the time, so we know how fucked up the government is and the administration. But I mean, that is just so blatantly stupid and just blatantly a lie. The reason why I played it is I need people to see that. That's like, sometimes maybe we think as podcasters and knowing how much shit we know that like we shouldn't say the most obvious shit. No, you have to say the most obvious shit, right? Because no one else maybe is saying the most obvious shit.
It is. It's tough because I mean, like, I don't have cable. Like I don't have any of that stuff. So like I don't even watch Fox News. So like when I see on like Twitter or Garrett or whatever, like they're like Joe Rogan's I'm like, they're talking about this on mainstream and like it's been going and going and going. But the funniest thing is Joe Rogan hasn't said a fucking thing.
No, but I heard
he just keeps doing his thing.
Yes, of course, that's the way he is. But I did hear after he came off the stage yesterday at his show that he came off the stage to "Rockin' the Free World" by Neil Young.
Listen, that's all he's got to do, though. Yeah. Like those are those little.
The most savage meme was when he was that dude that got knocked out, and Rogan sat down like next to him and put the mic in his face, and they photoshopped Neil Young's face on it. I was crying, man.
Look, man, on top of that, like credit to Spotify, right? Because Spotify could have obviously bowed to the woke mob and just canceled Rogan. They could have, right? But they haven't.
Yep.
Too much money.
So right, but they could
profit
have
in
still.
truth.
How many other companies have thrown money away because of woke shit? They have. So I want to give them. We are on Spotify, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
So am I. That's the only place that lets me on
because most companies have bowed to the mob. They
Yep.
have not to date, right? They've said no. You want to leave, but we're gonna protect our investment. We're gonna protect free speech. So we should give them credit where credit's due. Like sometimes we're too negative about everybody's response to this. They deserve credit.
No, it's definitely good. The only other thing I've seen is like why we're all looking at this, they've removed 42 of his other episodes that nobody's been talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
But at the
Spotify
same
did that?
time, yeah,
I
I'm sure
didn't
they
know that.
have. I'm sure they have like older, more controversial episodes. But at the same time, who's really watching those? Joe Rogan's almost 2,000
I get it.
episodes.
I get
in.
it, but
is
it's
anybody
like,
going back to 1,500 episodes and watching the old ones? I don't agree with it, of course, but I'm just going to give them a slight.
I
smidge of
get it,
credit
but
here.
that's his catalog of his work.
But it's elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if they remove an episode of his, then they break the agreement that makes him exclusive to them, and he can then go and put that episode up on like YouTube or
Which YouTube's going to scaff him too.
But I've seen, I don't think they have.
Dude, he's big enough to start your own fucking network, bro.
Yeah.
Just start your own
Yeah,
network.
that would be something. But he doesn't want to.
He's got fuck you money.
He's
funny,
Jon
it's fun-
Snow, man. He's
Yes,
Jon
he
Snow.
doesn't. I don't
I
want
know.
it. The reason why Joe Rogan actually went to Spotify is because he wanted the freedom to say whatever he wanted, the financial security, and he thought maybe by going to only one platform there would be less controversy because less people. He was like, make more money, have more freedom, and less people will see me and care about what I have to say. But it's been almost the complete opposite reaction. Just kind of funny when people are hungry for a leader. They're gonna, like you said, Jon Snow, right? They're gonna try and make that leader come out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem. People need somebody to follow too often. And I mean, it's good to bring people together and you have to, I understand the purpose for a leader. I do 100%. But I also feel like people need to start, I know it sounds cliche, like any conservative would say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and blah, 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 blah. But like, we need to rely on each other and the community.
I 100% agree with you, but that only works for like the three of us who are like-minded people in here.
Well, that's socialism on a small scale.
Yeah, it's 2022, and people for the past 22 years haven't touched a bootstrap to, you know what I mean, to like pick them. Like there hasn't been a leader or, you know what I mean? Like, so to say like we should rely on ourselves, yes, that works because we see it that way. But as a group, there at this point in time in our history, there's going to need to be a leader to get them together because these people are just blind sheep
to be led, right?
But if they're blind sheep, what did we say? Natural selection. We don't need that in our lives either.
Yeah, but I mean, if they find the right leader, I don't know.
Who do you think's a good leader right now? Who do you think could lead this nation out of the darkness right now?
No one.
No,
the three of us.
The
three of us.
No.
Who are you thinking?
Well, I have Ron DeSantis is a great leader in my opinion, especially the way he's fought back against the COVID regime. My favorite leader is Dave Smith, libertarian, comedian.
I don't know too much about Dave.
Yeah, he's going to be probably running for president under the Libertarian Party.
That's awesome. Nobody will see him, just like the last one. Cool.
We're working on it. That's why we're trying to help them. We are.
No. Listen, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
I know. There's a problem. We haven't really talked about this much, but there's a problem with the Libertarian Party in general. They're woke, but there was a solution that is being worked on to fix that called the Mises Caucus that we are trying to help them because we like them. I think they're good guys.
No, I've seen some. You showed me some of their shit, and I'm like, fucking right on.
We were supposed to be at the convention today, but with the storm and whatnot, it got canceled.
We changed the course of history.
Yes, it's funny, right? We are doomed. Anything that we try and go to or plan on doing, if we go on vacation, expect fucking rain. We plan on going to the Libertarian Party of Connecticut convention. Fucking bomb
Northeastern.
Yeah.
Dave got COVID.
Yeah. Funny. So my last thing I wanted to just laugh about here is another thing I saw earlier today. We're here, we're hanging out. There's a snowstorm. Market Watch of all places. They are a journal, like a stock market, publication. They put out an article. Some predictions peg Boston's expected snowfall in record territory. Blame global warming for it. That's right. Climate change can be linked to this nor'easter, the bomb genesis, whatever. It's fucking January 28th. right? Was today the 28th of January?
29th.
In the Northeast.
29th.
It snows in January in the Northeast.
Dude, in February. Like, it snows this time of year every year for like the past fucking 70 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on climate change. I do think climate change is possible, that it could be real. But my God, they take anything, the most obvious shit, and try and spin it into a justification for climate change. This article actually says that nor'easters, have become a yearly thing, and they never were a yearly thing. Yeah, they fucking were.
They're
My
called
entire
fucking
life,
nor'easters.
There's been a nor'easter every fucking year
Since
in the Northeast.
The earliest I remember is, I don't know, 96. So the mid 90s to, to the early.
Well, dude, it's called a nor'easter because it's just a hurricane that comes off that way and hits the land up by us. Dude, winter's hurricane season for the Northeast.
Yeah, news.
It just comes
winter,
in snow
cold,
and ice.
Winter, snow. They tried to do the same shit when that fucking building collapsed in Florida. Climate change.
Well, did you see all the little flashes at the base of everything? Where
did you know that Trump's daughter Ivanka, what is the daughter's name?
Ivanka,
she was gonna buy she was supposed to buy a condo in that neighborhood, like across the street or in that building too.
Well, did you want to know that? Guess who had an apartment in that building?
Who, Epstein?
McAfee.
Oh,
Johnny
shit.
McAfee? Well, boy, that's a fucking.
When they murked him, remember he got murked?
Yeah.
Yep. And then like that building collapsed. What, like 3 days later?
Yeah,
something like that. It might not have been 3.
I'm not 100% sold that he's dead.
McAfee, I don't think so either.
That whole
dude, he's a shady character.
Yeah, he's strange. He's strange.
That whole building collapse. I don't know if you guys remember, but 3 days before that, the Navy tested a massive bomb right off the coast, about 100 miles away, like in a direct, almost like, I don't know if it's latitude or longitude or whatever line with that town where the building was in. Maybe that had something to do with it, right? 100 miles away, obviously. They said the shock wave was felt in Florida of that bomb. The building was obviously weakened by years of mistreatment and damage and whatnot.
Well, Florida's built on a swamp.
It ain't fucking climate change, right? That doesn't make any sense. That climate change would bring a fucking building down. It rains, rain in Florida. But the military maybe blowing up a fucking bomb shook a weak foundation and tore it down. But God forbid,
this is my biggest theory. This is one of my biggest arguments against climate change, because climate change is real. The climate changes every season. It changes in the winter, it changes in the summer, right? But the climate changed and these people believed what they were selling so much. Why are they buying beachfront fucking homes? Okay. Second, you go, oh, well, they're just going to live there till they're underwater and then they're going to snorkel out. Okay.
Yeah.
Comes your fucking logic
Submarine
again.
out.
Yeah. Here comes your logic again. Jerk off. What insurance company is in the business to lose money?
Yeah. They're not.
That needs to be insured. So if they thought that fucking house was going to be underwater before their 30-year mortgage was paid off, do you think that house would be insured?
No.
Right.
It wouldn't. You're in a flood zone. We can't insure you.
Listen,
AOC says the world's going to end in 10 years from climate change, right? So why?
Dude, according to Al Gore, we should have been underwater fucking in 2000. Yeah. And then before that, there's old articles from the 80s talking about the climate change and how we were supposed to be underwater by the 90s.
Yeah,
of course. Dude, real quick. Then you guys give your points on climate change.
Yeah,
right?
sorry.
I do think climate change is possible, that humans could contribute to it, right? Just by burning and putting particulates and shit in the atmosphere or whatnot. But the where, the why, the how, and the if and the when are all debatable, right? And they've changed multiple fucking times. It's just bizarre that they want to use every single weather fucking phenomenon, right? When I was in college, I learned
DARPA.
I also learned the difference between weather and climate, right? That was a key thing that I remember learning in geography class. It was. But now the science people are blurring the lines between weather and climate. This is a weather event, a snowstorm. It's not a climate fucking event. So it's bullshit. And another thing that just completely invalidates, you brought up the point of beachfront property and insurance. Why are they so against nuclear energy? If the world is going to be destroyed in 10 years if we don't do something about it, we have to make power cleaner. One of the most efficient ways to make cleaner electricity is by nuclear power, but the left does not want nuclear power. They never talk about it. For the group that wants to use the government to boost up a certain industry, they don't want nuclear power. And that is the only way right now that we could really change the way we make our electricity into a more cleaner way in terms of like carbon pollution and shit like that. But it's completely written off, not ever spoken about and whatnot. We need power, right? Like we need electricity in order to run our fucking society. We can't just put everything on a solar panel yet. It's not efficient enough yet. We have to get power somewhere. And if we don't get power somewhere, we just turn off all the lights because we're worried about climate change. People are going to be way more poor. And when people are way more poor, they're way more polluting because they're going to fucking chop down trees and burn them for heat and whatnot. And they're going to burn trash or whatever the fuck they're going to do. So it's just another, just like before, how they can't say just to make yourself healthier for COVID. They just, for some reason, can't suggest that we maybe build a couple more safe, modern nuclear power plants to bridge the gap until solar fucking stations are way more efficient. We could capture all the energy from the sun. Go ahead, Gap.
It's because they have the rights for the minerals and they want to make the batteries and all the electric car. That's why every commercial you see is for an electric truck and an electric car, because then they don't have to worry about paying off the gas industry anymore. They'll own the electric industry. And then when everybody's got electric cars, they'll just raise the price of electricity and they'll all have the stock market inside trading for it as well. You know, Pelosi's already doing that and we're not even switching to Teslas yet. But on climate change, yes, climate change was going to happen whether we were polluting the oceans or not. It was going to take place. Maybe we sped it up, maybe we didn't. But at the end of the day, climate change is not an American problem. America is actually pretty friggin' clean. A lot of Americans try to preserve and take care of the environment. You know, Skaggs, me and you as hunters, we do. What's the test the thing we have to fill out at the end of every season?
Oh, the survey.
Yeah. The Department of Environment, the Department of Environment. Yeah. We have to take these surveys. We're doing our part. But you look at China, Russia, India, who can pollute as much as they want. All the deals with the Green New Deal and stuff, America pays up front. China and Russia have like a 10-year lease that they don't have to drop a dime in. And then they have an option to extend it for another 10 years. So they could pollute as much as they want for 20 years straight. And they're already polluting way more than the rest of the world is. They got 20 years paid vacation. We have to pay more now, and we're way cleaner than them. It ain't our problem.
Yeah, free
not
markets,
our fucking problem.
Free markets will solve that problem of pollution and whatnot, right? Like our market is not free, but it's freer than China. It's freer than Russia's, right? And who's cleaner?
But
right?
is it really?
They want to make our fucking market, our economy more controlled, more centralized, right? But all the centralized, controlled economies around the world, they're the fucking biggest polluters that exist.
Mm-hmm.
So they're advocating for the very thing that they don't want to do. It's just like everything else, man. It's such a fucking hypocritical, stance to take.
100%. I mean, I think, with nuclear, I think the issue is the waste that it makes, and they don't know what to do with it.
But if they
because it's the most poisonous. I'm just saying devil's advocate here. Like, I think it should be nuclear as well. But I think the one issue that they talk about is like, okay, I mean, if a nuclear power plant fails, you're in a lot more trouble than if, a coal power plant fails, right? Or whatever. Then tacking onto that, everybody's like, we need to go electric. Like it's so funny. It's like that meme when the Tesla runs out of it and they roll up a diesel generator to charge the Tesla. Where the fuck do you think electricity comes from, you idiots? Coal powered plants. Right. Okay, if you want electricity and we're gonna ramp it up like this, should come from a nuclear plant, not a coal powered plant, because electricity doesn't just. Well, unless we get them Tesla files and we figure that out.
That's what the left fucking believes, though. They just think that shit just magically appears.
Oh, everything's free.
Food fucking just magically appears on the shelf. Electricity just magically appears in the fucking power line.
Hey, everything
no one makes it. It just comes from the money.
Wi-Fi was just everything in the air the whole time.
Yeah. Listen, everything that was free, you guys are all seeing for it. Inflation right now wasn't really free, kids. They took it out on our backs, and they're going to continue to take it out on us, right? So, I mean, you got that with the energy. Like you said, too, all these, we've brought in our carbon footprint for the size of our nation down to the bare minimum, pretty much, without like turning off all the power plants very well. And I don't think we, get enough credit for that. But like you said, too, China, India, and, Russia can operate. I mean, India, there's fucking billion people in India? Something ridiculous, and the amount of pollution and everything else that they put out into the oceans and everything else all through, and there's no backlash for that. Once again, like we've said, we should not be policing the world. And listen, make our beds at home first. Get all our soldiers, you know, taken care of. Let's get all our homeless and kids, you know, fed and have, you know, homes over their head. Let's take care of your house first. Because if you can't fucking make your own goddamn bed, I don't need you telling me how to make mine out there. Right. So I think that's a big problem that we do as the United States is we're trying to help everybody, but we're not even helping ourselves. Right. So I think that needs to be corrected before we got to go out and try to, you know, change the energy of everybody else in the world. We're doing what we can do on our power at the way home. Right. Look what's happening. We're not set up for that. We're set up for diesel, gas. That's what our country's set up for.
Look at California with the rolling blackouts, the fires and all that, because their method is to destroy California. It's not to save energy and reduce your carbon footprint. You're just openly, they've been having these wildfires for years now, and they've been getting worse. Okay?
It's mismanagement.
Exactly. So you can't tell me after a decade and a half of these wildfires, you're like, we're still on the right path. No, you're not. You're not. It's time to drop the investment.
And you're also probably polluting more than you would have been if you didn't spend the gasoline and the chainsaw to chop down that tree and drag it out instead of letting it
and shit. Yeah.
How about the train yard? All the pollution that's in the fucking train yard, right? That is the result of their fucking stupid policy.
Did you see him on camera, like acting concerned? Like, this is ridiculous. It looks like a third world country. And his fucking Van Dutch hat and his other fucking thing. He's like,
bro, the state is in a state of an emergency, but they're hosting the Super Bowl and they're hosting the NFC Championship.
Right. Dude, all that shit from the train, like how much of that's going to end up in the ocean? It's not far away. It's right down the rail yard.
You ever Google
how many masks are in the ocean?
It shows you.
Floats off California, right?
Yep. Yeah. There's a garbage island off the coast of California.
Like
and how no one in the world can just get a couple of helicopters and Freightliners over there and just clean it up. It's all stuck together.
There's a kid. He's working on it. You know, of course, I've seen that. His name's Boyan Slot.
We have the fearless Joe Biden, 81 million votes in there with the awesome woman of color Kamala Harris as VP. We've never been a stronger nation. We got a kid working on it.
Yeah. You know my fucking thoughts.
He's from like Norway, right?
He's not even from America.
No, he's like, fuck this pollution.
He should be commended, man. He's doing a fucking
I think we need people like that.
Yeah, I think he, just to wrap it up, his idea too is to take that shit, especially the plastic, and make it into stuff that people could use. Because he's like, if we just take this and recycle it and make more masks, then they just end up right back in the ocean again. And I'm not making any progress. Like, his idea is to take something and make it something more permanent. That people could use, maybe like a pop, like a vinyl or something like that. Something that will last you a lot longer than just a one-use disposable cup or something.
Listen, there's got to be a better way. It's just a plastic, and like everybody's like, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that, or think about. Okay, all right, this is funny, right? So, what was one of the biggest booms you would say in our area, right? When they made all these restrictions,
biggest booms.
Booms like that you would
Uber Eats.
No, that you would see in every store, in front of every cash register, in front of all
the
that.
hand sanitizer or something.
No, plexiglass.
Yeah.
You know what plexiglass is made with? Fucking oil.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, plastic.
And they want you to do.
Yeah, and that doesn't even make any sense, right? Because COVID is an airborne particulate transmitted disease. Like as you're breathing it out, the way I understand,
get into it.
I know.
This is true. It's like it behaves like
it doesn't matter if it's true.
There was a video.
It doesn't matter.
Never mind. Sorry, I try not to get into the details of science here.
Doesn't matter.
Never mind.
There was a video today of a guy at the grocery store, and the woman was like, "Okay, that'll be $10.50." Maybe one of the guys in the group posted it. I don't remember, but he's just smashing into the plastic, and she's like, "No, you could give it to me around here," and he's like, "Oh, I could come around the plastic and talk to you face to face." And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And I could reach past the plastic and give you money." And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Then what's the fucking point of the plastic?"
I know.
I had dude at MetLife Stadium last year, or maybe it was even this year. I think it was last year though. They made all payments contactless so that you don't have to exchange any money with your concession stand person, right? So I went over there and I wanted the spicy fucking Cheetos, the popcorn, the spicy Cheetos popcorn. You guys ever have that?
No.
It's delicious, right? So I go there and I buy it. I got to use my card, contactless, pay for it. Then the lady takes the Cheetos. She hands it right to me with her hands, and I take it with my hand, right? And then I take my hand, I touch the Cheetos, and I put them in my mouth.
God.
Thank God it was contactless payment.
Garrett, I got the best. So I shop at Whole Foods. I voted
Good
for Joe
you,
Biden,
buddy.
Whatever.
Yes, that's all right.
Yeah, and we
keep it healthy.
We were outside, and they were making us wait online, and it's because only so many people could go in. And just one day I had it, and I went at it with the woman at the door, and it came down to like, what are you protecting us from? And she's like, COVID. And, I walk inside, and the first big display I see is raw, unwrapped soap. Now I get the argument of soap cleans your hands, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
I know,
but it was all raw, unwrapped soap. And I watched several people walk up to this,
pick it up, smell it,
pull their mask down and smell it, put it down, take another one, smell it, put it down.
I know.
And then I went over to the produce, and this guy's touching the carrots and the cucumbers, and he puts them back. What are we being protected from?
You know what that's called?
Mass formation psychosis.
You finish my sentence.
Yes. I know I've seen some wild shit. Like even during this, I went to go pick up like my kids' lunch because they were giving away lunches because it was just going to go bad because they shut down. So we're like, all right, like you want us to pick up lunches? Okay. So I remember I didn't wear a mask. I don't wear one, right? I never wore one. So like I went to go pick up the food. We're outside. And it's like a folding table, and they literally are all masked up and gloved up, and they literally walk up and put the food on the table in a bag already. So I literally just walk over. I don't even touch the table and scoop it. I was doing this for like 3 weeks, right? The one day I get this lady, I go in and I scoop it, and I come back and she's like, oh, thank you. She's like, oh my God, you don't have a mask on. Oh my God. She comes out, she starts spraying the table. I'm like, lady, we're outside. I'm 12 feet away from you. She's like, but you contaminated the table. I go, I didn't even touch the table. I touched the bag that was this high off the table and grabbed it with my pinky and fucking walked in. Dude, like this mental gymnastic that these morons do because they're so scared. It's insane.
Did you guys see the video recently of the black guy? He is in the elevator.
Black Lives Matter.
And he's with these two older white women, and he's not wearing a mask, and they are screaming at him, hitting at him. And while they're hitting him, they're saying Black Lives Matter because he wasn't wearing a mask. What?
But that's how crazy it is.
Hitting him with their phones.
They're punching a black dude, screaming "Black Lives Matter."
That couldn't be a more like accurate representation of the entire movement. To honestly, just like two white liberal ladies masked up, punching black people while they're saying "Black,"
telling them that they matter. It's like I hate you because I love you.
These are the people that are causing the problem. They've lived such the privileged life that they have no other issues but to create their own.
Honestly, it's the boomers, right?
Yeah, they're a problem.
Yeah. It's that generation. So they've had it like my parents' generation and a little bit older because my parents were born in the 60s. So like, even though not that their life was like easy, but like it's been easier for them. And they're the ones that didn't go to the Board of Ed meetings. Your parents go to Board of Ed meetings?
Yeah, my parents went to.
Did you? You have better parents than me. Yeah, your parents. Well, teacher conference is different than a Board of Ed meeting. Like,
I don't know. Well, my parents knew the people on, some of the people that ran them. So
yeah, but it could be your neighbor, Bob. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, were they showing up, getting involved in policy for the schools and everything else? My parents weren't. They were too busy trying to. My dad owned his own business. My mom.
Garrett, were you a child of the 80s? When did you grow up? Like you're
82, I was born.
Okay.
Everybody's doing blow. They were too busy.
Yeah. So we have this in our group, this theory of the 80s was like the most perfect, like was the pinnacle of America, where like you could get out of college and make $200,000 on Wall Street as a 22-year-old. And you get married right away to the sexiest blonde you could find, drive your little red Porsche around Manhattan, and have 3 kids because you're making $250K, $500,000 a year in 1981.
Yes.
And that leads to the house in the Hamptons, the ski lodge in Vermont. These kids grew up in this era where their parents made ballistics amount of money, and the parents didn't have any more issues. So they are the parents that became the soccer moms that created the participation awards and all that stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then those kids grew up, and now they're kind of in charge of everything. And they had the most cushy, beautiful life growing up where they don't even understand what's going on in the real world.
All right, so you are correct on certain aspects, and I would rebuttal this. So, like, my parents were at 8; they didn't have it easy. Our grandparents were the ones that really had it hard, right? And then they made their lives, and so our parents' lives were easier, just like every generation tries to do for every generation, right? Then we get into the 80s. Like, I was born in the 80s. I didn't grow up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah,
so I was like a 90s kid. Which is still 90s were awesome, right? Like fucking MC Hammer pants, like we're ready to rock.
The
right?
90s was the perfect culmination of like the product of the 80s right before it all goes wrong.
100%, right? So, but what I'm seeing now is the people my age that are having kids are starting to parent like the 80s parents, where it was like, fuck it, go do whatever you want, but without like giving you everything you want. Like, you're going to start working for it. You're going to start having manners. It's more my sister's age. It's like that 16 to 28 right now. That is like, we're trying to fight that. Like, now we're old enough to be like, oh shit, our parents didn't do it. It's up to us. Like they got away. So now we're at the border end meetings. We're speaking up like this. We're doing our thing. And it's the younger generation that we're fighting against. And then it's the older hippie generation we're fighting against. Because listen, all the professors were all 60s and 70s babies. Or 50s and 60s.
No, 50s and 60s babies, yeah.
Yeah, so they were what? It was hippies, free love, everything. But now we know it was communist.
Right, but now they're totalitarians, right? But back then they were freedom, love, fuck the man. Now they are the man.
But the hippie party is communes, right? They had communes and communism, and we need to do all that. True. Now they're just in charge.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good point, yeah.
And didn't somebody say like the high school, like the kids, so how old's your oldest kid, Garrett?
My oldest kid's 7.
Oh, okay. So like whatever generation of kids are in high school right now are apparently like super based and like not into like, no, we can't be giving everybody everything for free. Like the complete opposite of what mainstream media wants the high school generation to be.
So I deal with, I'm in a conservative area, but it's more diverse now. But like, I'm seeing with the high schoolers and like middle school and the high schoolers are super fucking based. It's the guys that are like end of high school, middle of high school to like college that are the fucking problem.
Yeah, just clueless to how the world really works.
Like my wife's niece, she's like a bleeding heart liberal, and she can't come from more of a based family ever. And she's just like, we'll have debates, and she's fucking super smart. She's always been super intelligent, but I'm like, and she would always like to debate with me because I know my shit, and we go back and forth, and like we had that verbal sparring, and we always but it got to a point where I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You have no life experience. You have no clue what you're talking about. Like, just because you read it in a book, like I fucking lived it.
Right.
There's a big difference there, sweetheart. And then but that's the problem. But those are the ones that want to be the lawyers and everything else. Like, we need another fucking lawyer in Congress or the Senate. Like, we need a fucking hole in the head.
Oh, we need people out there, woodworkers and carpenters,
regular people.
Shit, yeah.
That's going to come back.
And whatnot too,
that's going to come back because like I ever have kids, like I'll give them free range. Maybe I'll want them to go to college. We'll see what happens once I actually have a kid. But like, if my kid, like when I was young enough, the year I was old enough to apply to the local police department was the year they actually, because they had it every so many years, was the year that the test was coming out and I was finally of age. Man, my mother found that application, burst out into tears, begged me not to take it, and fine, whatever our opinions have changed. I still support blue line, the blue line and all that. But like, I didn't take that test because my mother didn't want me to. But now being in the corporate world and seeing some of how the unions work, like I think I know where I probably would have succeeded a little bit more than sitting behind a desk in the middle of Manhattan, you know?
Yeah.
So if my kid wanted to take the union test, I'd say, hell yeah. My neighbor, his kid is he's in a vocational school for like plumbing.
Man.
All my friends that were in the trades out of high school make way more
better
money,
Yeah.
and they were way better off, and they had houses before everybody else. Their houses will be paid off as long as they're smart. Their houses will be paid off before other people's houses are. Dude, I have all excuse me, especially the area I'm in, we have, you know, a lot of longshoremen which make ridiculous funds. Like they work a lot of overtime, but I mean, like, you know, you could be a longshoreman and have, you know, a very large house. And that's, you know, working on the docks, right? And then I have a lot of electricians by me, and then we have a lot of iron workers by me. So, you know, my kids, I don't know, like I wasn't a college person. I wasn't like, so my mind frame, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, go to college, because I'm like, fuck college. They just got 4 more years to indoctrinate you. That's like my thought. Like, go find what you like and figure out how to make money. That's always my advice to everybody. I'm like, what do you like to do? They're like this. I'm like, find a way to make money.
Yeah. But I think like as your kids get older, you might see like your path is to like start your own business and not answer anyone, but your path, you might benefit. Like you'll know your kids, and I'm sure you know your kids already. Yeah. You could see like, you know what, college probably benefits you more than it benefits you.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, there's definitely like one. I'm like, all right, he's gonna like go turn wrenches or fist fight for a living, you know, and then which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he's gonna make a shit
that's what I do.
money.
Yeah, he's cool, whatever. My other one, I'm like, he's like, if Hollywood wasn't so fucked up, he would have already been on a TV show. He is like a cartoon character, man, and he's funny, he's smart,
charisma.
Oh, dude, like you talk to him, it's like you're sitting down with your boy, and he's like 6, and he's like, "What's up, gangster? Like, what are you guys doing?" You know, like the Under Dragon one. That one, he's like your roll dog. Like you can go hang out with him. The baby, I'm just like, it's either he's going to be the president or he is going to be the president of jail.
He will
Cell King.
He will be Cell Block 6 King. Like he's either going to use his powers for good or evil, and I don't know yet. And we call him the Sour Patch Kid. He's just first he's sour, then he's sweet. He's like
everybody has good prospects. I like it. So
no, they're going to be fun. But you know what? We're going to be living the fucking lifestyle of Wolverine, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Are you guys old enough to? You guys are old enough to remember, you know, the Wolverines, right?
Oh, the Red Dawn, yeah.
Red Dawn,
Fuck yeah. So they're already trained for it.
And I shoot text back and forth, got plans. Just we
keep those.
We're good.
We keep those off the show. Yeah, man. Yeah. Definitely. I hope not. You know, I like to consider myself a reformist, right? But I'm not opposed to starting over society from scratch.
Yeah, or, Alexandria, baby.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Drop the match, walk away.
Yeah.
Phoenix rise from the ashes.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
That's how we got to do
there
it.
Are people who are accelerationists. They want to see things collapse as fast as possible because they don't believe it can be fixed or reformed. Right? Those are interesting people.
They are, but there is good people out there.
Oh yeah,
there's really good people out there. You know, and that's what we have to hold faith onto is the good people out there. And, you know, hopefully we can, you know, win that battle. You know,
we are.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do here, right?
We're winning.
We show up every week and do this shit.
Every week, I have a little bit more faith than the follower the past week. So.
We do. I'm just nervous. I hope we never see boots on the ground in the U.S. You guys got to listen to my last episode with Josh Reed. He makes a fucking hard argument that we're going to see boots on the ground within the next year or two here.
Oh boy, that's black hole.
It's not like America isn't prepared.
Yeah, well, we're being invaded and we're just letting them in. And then there's people at the borders and everything else. There's container ships off the side that have been sitting there for 19 months from different countries. So they're already here, boys. You just got to be awake to it, you know?
I think China was conducting military operations in Canada.
Oh, yeah, they're still on the border. There was like 30 to 50,000 troops.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
The good thing is,
the only problem is like they have to go through like Montana, and like that's going to be pretty rough.
Look. The good thing is we have bases completely surrounding all of their countries, right? So I mean, if they're going to pull some covert op here, they have to deal with the most armed populace on the planet, and you know, we will retaliate with our own military right on their border, and they won't have any armed populace because they've disarmed them. Why? Because they're a totalitarian communist dictatorship. So I always don't ever count us out.
I'm not counting us out.
I'm just saying.
I'm not counting us out either. I'm just
I ain't
saying.
counting the three of us out. I'll tell you.
Nope. Stay ready, homeboys.
Gonna get medieval real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Warriors.
Garrett, before we sign off, man, why don't you shout out your show?
Yes.
Shout out the last episode you were just talking about too.
Oh, okay.
Check it
So
out.
we're Sergeant and Samurai Podcast. You can watch us on Rumble. We are no longer allowed on the tubes of Ubes. So we got zucked on that. So we're rebuilding over there. And then you can find us on Spotify, Google, Amazon, etc. We're still not on Apple. But what's it called? Yeah, our last episode was with Josh Reed from the Red Pill Project or redpills.tv. Wow. So we're going to have him on probably like once a month because he's just like, James was on his show a couple weeks ago. Me and James met him out at some of the events, and this guy, like if you want to know about like occult and how to tie everything back together, he was Navy for 10 years on the ships, like working all the networks and everything. This man's brain is like a supercomputer of occult and political, avenues or whatever. So definitely go check it out. And then our Instagram, which is obviously heavily shadow banned, is Sergeant Samurai, and then 2.0 as well. You can follow our backup.
Yeah, man. Follow them. I will put the link to their Rumble channel in our
we got a link tree now. You can just grab the link tree. Boom.
Yeah. It is hard to build a podcast channel, so getting nuked by YouTube absolutely fucking sucks. So go over there.
I know, and we were getting some steam
Badge
too.
of honor.
So
subscribe, follow, help out our friends. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
All right, Cap.
Doom Nation, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at 2doomen_. There's the link tree in our bio to take you to everywhere you can find us. We got a lot coming up. We're working with Sergeant Samurai and a couple of other podcasts on some really great things. There's a lot coming this year. It's going to be a very different year for all of us. So Doom Nation, thank you guys again. Hope you enjoyed the show. Adios.
Later.